in terms of our religion is because when it comes to things like Trinity, those things are ridiculous from a rational perspective. And the reason that we're able to have this kind of, prominence even today is because of our deep rational foundation. I just feel like we should hold on to that when we enter the religion as well. Why just, I've heard people say, use akal to get to the religion, and then once you're in there, it seems to be an almost dismissal of it. Now we've reached here, now it's just pure iman.
I'll give you some humble advice as a brother.
Yeah.
In Islam, we have aql, which is intellect, and we have naql, which is to do just as you're told. And in Islam, we approach Islam, and we learn Islam, and we practice Islam with both of these concepts. Aql, the intellect to recognize the truth, and naql. So when Allah says there are angels, I haven't seen the angels. But I accept the angels as I accept the screeching that comes from this woman right in front of me. Right? Because just as she screeches, I know that there are angels in heaven. Right? Because why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told me that He created them. I haven't seen the jinn. Maybe I might have. But
I am not Muhammad.
I accept that Allah has created jinn. The good jinn and the evil jinn. Allah has created them. Why do I believe that? Because Allah, that's the naql. That's the naql aspect. So now, I know from the bottom of my heart,
can you please tell me about the child
whatever the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did and he taught was from Allah.
Disgusting. This was disgusting.
He was and he will always be till the end of time. The highest of moral standards.
And as you say, please justify
and if there is something that happened that I find difficult to really truly absorb, then I recognize that that's a limitation on me,
but
not on the limitation of the Prophet.
But then don't we end up falling into this kind of blind belief?
Can you please go away? Anyway, because
don't touch me again. Don't touch me. Can you please wash your hands now? Don't wash your hands.
But that's that beauty of Islam being so rationally coherent. I feel like it almost starts to disintegrate a little bit when you. It starts to disintegrate a little bit once you got.
How can this be so rational? When it is talking about
when you start requiring moments of blind faith.
How can this be so rational when it is talking about the child?
When you start requiring a level of blind faith, and I feel like although I understand that idea of naql, accepting things. But the reason I accept angels exist is because I accept the Quran is from God for rational reasons, and then I accept what it says therefore. But then how we interpret these things outside of the Quran, they require a level of rationality. You understand?
Who
You
can interpret a book of quantum physics more than a quantum physicist?
Yes.
Okay. Who can interpret Islam better than the one who spent all his life? What I want people to see is that rather than Muslims being ill-mannered and showing lack of decorum and respect, this is Christianity. This is the face of Christianity today.
I am asking the question.
This is the face of Christianity. So what I would say to you is that look, on EF Dawah every other Monday we have a stream with Sheikh Abu Alia. Despite being a Muslim for 52 years, I have to ask him sometimes the very basic questions about Islam. Despite being quite keen in learning Islam, I know that there's very little that I know. So the issue of marriage with Aisha radiallahu anha, what your right hand possesses, all of these things, I have to get the explanation from the scholars because they have trained themselves and learned the religion for decades and decades through generations of learning.
But then don't you end up falling into this blind obedience to certain scholars? I understand physics is a specialist subject and it requires a degree of training, but something as open to everyone as religion, shouldn't there be a level of common accessibility to it, where we don't have to rely on others to give us, other men to explain to us, or other women to explain?
You have made a claim.
Have I?
It's completely false.
Well, what's the claim?
Your claim is that science, technology, and these things are very complicated.
Well, they can get complicated, yeah.
When you start getting to the very
top,
intricate, detailed teachings, yes?
Yes.
And there are similarly things in Islam, right? So when there is a ruling for something, the scholars will often go back to the very earliest teachings. They'll go back to the hadith. They'll go back to the Arabic. That this word that is used, actually, if you apply it this way, it's wrong. The meaning of the word, the root word, is not this. It was always understood to be this. In modern Arabic, that word is now changed. So you can't interpret that hadith with this. So it's a very complicated subject. But Islam is easy for you or me, the layperson.
Understand.
Why? Pray 5 times a day. I can learn that. Give your zakat. Give your money to charity. I can learn that. Fast in the month of Ramadan. I can learn that. Go to Hajj once in your life. If you can afford to do so and you're physically able to do so. I can do that. Okay? The things about validating aspects of morality based upon my social consensus of the 21st century and applying that retrospectively on the 7th century without understanding the culture, without understanding the needs of the society, without understanding the language it was revealed and how it was explained, is, I would humbly say, not you, even if I do it, it would be arrogant.
I understand. Like
it's not a humble approach to knowledge.
But like going back to the actual thing, not on a moral level, but on a purely we're going on a scriptural thing, right? And I mentioned this before, but I understand I brought up an earlier issue, so you had to address that before we could move on. With the hadith, of course, there's a hadith in Bukhari where he married. He married at 6, and he bestowed and then married at 9. But aren't there also hadith where you talk when it goes through the time. The time in which Prophet was getting married to Aisha, so what was going on in his life during the same period.
Why does that matter?
Because for me, it matters a bit because it kind of throws like a level of doubt over that hadith.
Where do we get 70% of our religion from? From whose lips?
Well, the Prophet Muhammad.
No, but from after the Prophet Muhammad, who passed on that information to us? Something like 60-70% of our hadith. Where do they come from? Aisha radiallahu anha, a woman.
Yes.
A woman. So where Allah saw hikmah, a good reason for the marriage, she was the only one that was that young.
But
the other wives were divorcees. Some were older than him. The brother's a Muslim, and he is just saying that this concept of Aisha radiallahu anha,
just hadiths in general.
So he doesn't believe that the hadith are trustable.
Okay. Just let me ask you a very simple question.
Yes.
If you knew for sure that the Prophet ﷺ said that thing, would you adhere to it?
Yeah, of course I would.
So you're questioning the isnad?
Yes.
Okay. And have you looked into the science of hadith and why we believe it?
Not to a level in which I would claim any sort of like level of expertise or anything.
Right, so
but I was looking into this particular issue to begin.
My recommendation for you, seriously.
This
isn't the place to do this thing. Go to One Message Foundation, Sheikh Uthman. Go to Farid Responds. These guys are experts.
He's got courses.
They've got libraries behind them of hadith. Okay. So the next question you need to ask yourself is, how do you know anything that occurred in history at all?
Through evidence, right?
What evidence? One second. Prove to me, how would you know Julius Caesar existed? Or Harold got it in the eye? Let's go to that one. 1066, King Harold.
Eyewitness accounts, testimonies.
How do you know that eyewitness accounts is reliable?
How do I know it's reliable? Because there tends to be a level of scholarship that comes down the line.
What's a scholarship?
What's
a scholarship?
The scholarship of the people that look into it, and there's like obviously starts.
How do they know that one guy
accounts, written accounts?
Right. So why do you believe those accounts are true?
Because they don't believe it just because they like the narrative. It tends to be there's more than one account of something happening.
So and in Arabic we have a word called mutawatir.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Mutawatir hadith isn't that the one that's like you're kind of rejecting? No. Or that's the one that you accept?
No, mutawatir means you have more than one account of the same occasion.
Okay.
The same situation. So here's the problem you've got. If you want to question the reliability of the hadith, you need to be questioning the reliability of anything you've been told happened.
See, that's the thing though. Like, would you admit that hadith are completely, are they fallible or not?
Nobody says they're infallible.
They are infallible, right? So there are certain hadith that you admit that.
Okay, so how would you know if a hadith is reliable or not?
You would look, first of all, you would look at it, see if it conflicts with the Quran. That's the first thing you do.
Right.
If it contradicts the Quran, then you can't accept it, can you? It can't be from Muhammad if it contradicts the Quran. Do you accept?
Go on.
Second of all, it has to make sense on a rational level.
Why?
Because if it's not rational, then how can you believe it?
Well, how does that make sense?
Well, I only believe things that are rational. Surely,
Your rationality is enslaved to your environment, to your education, to who brought you up.
Well,
to
then-
how, listen, we know psychologically
Yes.
that a young child is neurons, how it makes sense of the world.
yeah.
Its neurological connections are formed through experiences and learning.